Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Animation Station. I'm your co host, Joseph. Unfortunately, our host, Tiasha, couldn't be here today, but I am joined by one of our fellow guests who was on here not too long ago, our lovely Elisa.
Hello, what's up, everyone? It's a pleasure to be back into the animation station.
Yes, she's also a fellow co host, so we have two co hosts who are
Woo!
sort of working together on this one. She is
The
from our
co-host.
Yes, she is on from our sister podcast for Elite 23 Global, the Coffee Break podcast.
Yes, if you love coffee and love hearing random stuff while you work on projects, take a look on that one too. And then afterwards, you go back to animation station and you just go back and forth and back and forth.
Yep, this is our 10th episode, but Lisa and Melissa, they were able to release their 20th episode just yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we have over a total of 30 episodes for you guys to listen to. So plenty of things to listen to occupy your time with all our nerd stuff and animations.
Of course.
Yep. Yeah.
Duh.
So what we are talking about today is one of the things that we normally do on this show is sort of have our reactions and talk about some of our favorite animated videos from Disney that are being rebooted into live action movies. So one of the ones that we're talking about today is, of course, Mulan. Now everyone is talking about
Woohoo.
this. Yes, everyone is talking about this. And being someone who's fellow Chinese, I thought that Alyssa would be someone to really
Yes.
give her opinion about this. And I would say you're pretty much a bigger Disney fan than either me or Tiasha. That's for sure.
Just a little. It's not like I had the annual pass or anything. Psh, come
Yeah,
on.
I know. I see you at Disneyland like almost all the time on your Instagram.
I know. I go a lot. Or I just also sometimes I just take a bunch of pictures and I post them later. I fool people to think I'm going, but I'm just actually at home. No kidding.
Yeah. And the constant like backdrop of of
I
Disneyland.
know. This it's my wall. I just painted like the backdrop of Disney. I can't do that now because they just got a new castle. The Sleeping Beauty
Mm.
castle got revamped.
Yeah, but not like anyone's gonna know.
That's true. You know what? You're right. I can still do it. Psh, save money.
Yeah.
Why don't I?
So with this being our 10th episode, we're having, a little something where we go back and just look at, Disney and being one of the biggest animation studios pretty much all over the world.
Yeah.
And Mulan getting revamped now, with
Hmm.
it being its total plethora of movies from their Disney vault. I think really Disney is just running out of things to do. So, as always, they're just kind of just going through with the flow and just kind of going through
Yeah.
their inventory and saying, "What else can we make? what else? What else can we sell to these idiots?"
Oh my god. Basically, yeah, since they're also remaking The Little Mermaid as well, they just got the
Mm-hmm.
cast for that.
Yeah, and which really, I told people this when I first saw Aquaman. I'm like, "Hey, this is a beta test for the Little Mermaid," because
Ah,
it pretty much was. I mean, come on.
yeah. I mean, it was a good movie. I'm not gonna say anything negative about that, but yeah, I did feel like it. I mean, I would love what's his name, the actor that played Aquaman, Jason.
Jason Momoa, yeah.
I think he should be Triton.
Yeah. And then you have
Yeah.
Mira, who's just red hair, who's just Ariel, just spitting image.
Yep. Mhm. See, that works.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, they have the flowing red hair and everything. So we'll see what happens. But, we'll talk about Little Mermaid because, that's also something that's happening right now and people are talking
Mhm.
about cast issues. But let's revamp back to why we're here and let's talk about Mulan because there's a lot of controversy swirling around this. And normally we try to have a trailer reaction to these reboots, but we wanted to give this one a little bit of time and try and gather a little bit more information because there was a lot of questions from the trailer and there was just a lot of things that we didn't really know about. So we wanted to sit back and wait and get a little bit of more information. But now, that a good month has gone by or a little bit of time since the trailer dropped, let's kind of get our first reactions and then we'll dive in a little bit and kind of go over what they have released about the movie. So overall, what was your first reaction when you saw the trailer?
Um, I thought, honestly, I thought it was a bit cooler
Mm-hmm.
because she's fighting more and it shows her a little more, badass kind of thing.
Yeah.
To me, I do like they still have like the touch of the animation story still into it about her going to the matchmaker, and her just saying like I'm gonna bring honor to us. I still loved it. I realized there was no Mushu or the cricket
Hmm.
character, and it's a teaser, so they don't show everything at first in the teaser. So it could be, later in the trailers. I'm just getting, more hope that he'll be there.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty cool.
Hmm. I mean, when I first saw it, I wasn't really sure what to expect. I mean, it was a teaser. It was like a minute 30 long. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, they're just trying to get you pumped. And coming off the heels of Aladdin and some of the other new live action movies that are coming, and The Lion King,
Yeah.
I'm kind of everything's sort of falling into this one thing or the other where they kind of keep it traditional, loyal to the original, or they kind of, mix it up a little bit, add some things,
Mhm.
or they just kind of go in the opposite direction with it and just kind of come up with something new. Now,
Yeah.
with this in the trailer, they show no music. They have again, no cricket, no Mushu, and no grandma.
Oh my god, yeah, they didn't show grandma.
Yeah, and you get this live action things of them training and her fighting, and they show the Huns. Now, I gotta admit, when they first showed the Huns, I was kind of excited
I
because
yeah.
because I'm not gonna lie, the Huns in the original were some of my favorite villains because they were I don't want to say stereotypical, but you looked at them and you saw the way they were drawn. Like they all looked like some vampires. Like they were all pale and just
Yeah,
ridiculously like they had the stereotypical evil character design. Sharp eyes,
they did.
pale, dark, all black hair, dirty.
The
Just
yellow tints in their eyes
mhm,
and like
just
it's inhuman.
yeah, like very obvious. Like even his Shan Yu, who I thought was just a beast of a guy.
Ugh.
His sword was curved, and it
Yeah.
was like this like ceremonial like long sword. So like even the and his bird that was just like sort of evil itself, just like its falcon. I think is who was kind of like his almost like his familiar in a way because like the bird was like searching for him and like resurrected and like was helping him
Oh my
like
god, yeah.
towards the end. Um, but the one thing that it looked like in this where it reminded me so much of one of my it kind of reminds me so much more of like the Chinese cinema martial arts films like Crouching Tiger Hidden Dragon was one of the first things that popped in my head
Yeah.
when I first saw it because that was one of my favorites growing up because you see that was what introduced me to sort of Chinese cinema and like all these old martial arts movie and also as well as Hero, which again
Yes.
has Jet Li, and Jet Li is in this. So
Yes.
that's kind of made me excited. I was like, oh, because of course, I mean, how can you not have Jet Li in this?
Oh yeah.
Because and we'll talk more about the cast in a little bit once we move on from our initial reactions of the trailer. But that's kind of what the feel I got for it when they showed her fighting, which I assume is like the ending.
Yeah, I'm guessing that because it looks like she's in the battlefield,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah, and it seems like maybe they'll have a lot more action. Maybe there'll be more fighting in this one because in the original, there's like one major fight scene which is in the Imperial Palace, which is only just a couple of the main characters, and then the major battles, which is supposed to be like the big cliffhanger or
Yeah,
the
but
big
it
avalanche scene in the mountains.
is
It's over
true.
in two
Yeah.
seconds. Like there's no real battle there. So
Well, it took forever to animate it. That's why.
I know exactly. So really, there's like very little fighting except
Mhm.
for in the original, save for like at the very, very end where, it's the big boss battle.
Yeah, it's like this is the greatest moment you've been waiting for, and here it is.
Yeah. So when I first saw it is like those are the feelings I've got, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Hero, and Chinese cinema with some of it, and the cast looks really, really great. But then again, looking at it, it just seems like nothing other than it being called Mulan.
Yeah.
it looks like there's nothing about it that's similar to the original other than the main character being Mulan
Yeah,
and the Huns,
that's mostly it.
invading China.
Hmm.
So, but uh, with that being said, though, the one trend that I like so much about these Disney films is regardless of what camp you fall in with, if it's you like it being true to the original, some of the
Yeah.
them making a few minor changes or adding to the story, or completely following it play by play with the original. The one thing that's very consistent about these live actions, and this coming from an artist's point of view, is the set design and the costume designs.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and seeing the trailer and just looking at Mulan, like her stuff, like that big moment when she's like, I don't want to say like in her geisha, look, but
Yeah.
like I guess in her bride to be,
Oh,
makeup
the
with the,
matchmaker part, right?
yeah, with her face being painted and doing the makeup,
Oh,
like
hmm.
that's which is a callback to the original
Original.
original where um the whole "Look at Me" and that her song, like that's still one of my favorite songs. You
Love
know,
that song. That
the
was the
what
best.
yeah, who I am inside, that
Yeah.
like that's like one of my favorite songs from the film.
It's like a
Because
tearjerker
it
too.
is because because I just recently watched it because Mulan, I guess this is Disney's interference maybe, but Mulan's back on Netflix and I watched it quite recently,
Uh-huh.
and it's such a great film, like just being a musical and the story within itself. But like
Yeah.
that's something I really like about it because in all the Disney remakes, like the costume design, even with Aladdin, because a lot of people were mixed about Aladdin, but the costume designs,
Their costumes were so on point and it was
yeah,
so bright and colorful and it was kind of true to the culture.
yeah, and the set design as well is something that's really great. Even with Beauty and the Beast, uh, Be Our Guest, when I saw that in theaters,
Hmm.
just that, like I still watch that on YouTube, like just Be Our Guest because just the spectacle of it was just
Uh-huh.
really amazing. And I just remember sitting in theaters watching it and thinking to myself,
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh my God, like like if I was on drugs, like I would be freaking out right now because it was
This is
so
what's
bright.
happening.
It was so bright.
It
Um,
was. I'm surprised that you liked it so much. I had a headache from just watching that part because there was so much going on. I couldn't focus.
yeah, it was a lot. It was very overwhelming,
It
but
was. I mean, it was still beautiful, like a beautiful
yeah.
scene to like have in the remake,
Hmm.
because it's just like that's one of the iconic songs of Beauty and
Yeah.
the Beast. Other than like Beauty and the Beast, there's
Hmm.
still like this be our guest kind of song. This is just like it's a good song they added to the making of it, and just like of course like the set dressing and the CGI blended so well with them, with
Yeah.
Emma especially, because like she's like looking at nothing while this is happening, but yeah,
Exactly.
it's literally just, they're like
It's
look over
green
there.
screen and tennis balls.
Yeah, that's honestly what it is. Okay, you have to put your finger here and then you have to do that and you're like oh okay.
Yeah, the artistry behind it, regardless of how you feel about like the acting, the
Yes.
casting, the story, or the direction of it. From an artist perspective, the costume design, the set design is always amazing, and that's one thing I took from the trailer was just how well
Hmm.
everything looks, and just like that battle scene, like the Huns, they actually look like Huns,
Yes,
and
and like making her like they made her red and black too, right? She has red on her,
mm,
right?
yeah, well, that's what she's wearing like this red robe.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a name for it, but
I forgot what it's called, but it reminds me of like Chinese warriors would wear something similar to
mhm.
what she's wearing. I don't know the names of it, but they would wear the same colors as well. So that's what makes me feel like, oh, she's probably like accepted to go into the army and go fight the Hans on this like last battle. Like that's what it makes me feel like.
Mhm. Yeah, because I think that's something that she wears like towards the end of the film because like remember in the
Yeah.
end of the last film they kind of like pose as concubines engaged as like her buddies, her crew, those
Hmm.
two was it Ling and Yao and Chimpo.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, yeah. And then also at the end of the film she's wearing like that red uh robes, I guess, with the sash and everything. So that's kind of what it's a callback to.
Oh. There you go, pointer.
Yeah. So I think probably when they show her, it's at the end, and she's like got her hair down, which she does in the original too, at the in the final scene when she's at the Imperial Palace.
She doesn't cut her hair in the trailer.
No, which is okay. So now that we've kind of talked about like our initial reactions
Yeah.
to the trailer, let's actually kind of dive in and let's talk a little bit about what we know from the news, what news has been released about the actual film itself.
Yes.
So go ahead and lead off, and we'll talk about like her actual appearance. And,
Yeah, it was like different because the reason why she cut her hair in the animation was so it's easier to disguise herself as a man.
mm-hmm.
Um, because during that time, a woman cannot be in the army or cannot fight.
Yeah.
But now in this new trailer, I don't think she cuts her hair at
Yeah.
all, and she's fighting the Huns.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Like as a
thinking,
female.
yeah, as a female, like she's not disguised at all. Like she is showing who she is, and I am on board with that either way. I just like it just hit me right now while we're talking about it. She hasn't cut her hair at all.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because some of the I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there, and it's kind of hard to decipher what is real and what is not.
Yeah.
Um, I guess it would be more once we find out from the trailer. But in this, from what I've heard, it's that she is already kind of like a martial artist.
Mhm.
And like she's not someone who's like who's like completely
Like has no
innocent.
idea what she's
Yeah,
doing.
completely innocent. Like she has like
Yeah.
no military training whatsoever. But in this, it sounds like she does. And
It's true.
maybe that's them kind of changing the culture a little bit. Maybe there are some women who know or like a militia or something, or maybe there's like a militia of women who are allowed to train and fight while the men are off at war so they can defend themselves or something. Like I don't know entirely
Yeah.
like how much they're going to go with history between Huns and China, and how
Yeah.
much they're actually going to embellish to fit the story.
Mhm.
Because and also it just depends. And speaking of the Huns, let's talk about the villain a little bit.
Ho ho
And
ho.
what has been mentioned is that there's no Shan Yu. There's no Shan. There's no. It's a sorceress or a witch. The actress. Oh man, I'm
Um,
looking for her name. I'm probably gonna butcher it.
it's okay. I don't remember. I don't remember that part. Is it? Oh, Gong Li.
Gong Li.
Gong
Yes, yes.
Gong Li. Yeah.
Yeah. What's it says her name is Jiang Lang. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
I think it's Gong Li. Gong Li. Gong Li.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could be butchering it too, so
But it says like that she's like a witch, and you know that's who the villain is. Which so now they're kind of deviling into like the sorcery aspect of it, which didn't exist in the original, other than of course Mushu and the spirits of them like watching over them, like the ancestors.
Oh yeah, I love those in animation too.
Yeah, but now it seems like that's not going to be part of it, or
No,
is. And there's some people rumors that are saying that there is Mushu, that there isn't a Mushu. I don't think there is.
I don't think so either. And if so, it'd probably be like a spirit guiding her instead of like an actual dragon.
Yeah,
Which I'd be down to see 3D model CGI Mushu in this movie.
yeah.
So I don't know about
But
that.
also the one thing that really struck me really well is just the cast alone, because this does remind me of kind of like Black Panther. I'm getting the same feelings with this movie as I did with Black Panther,
Uh-huh.
with the cast being,
Badass.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
and cast appropriately, like the actress. Oh God, I know I'm gonna butcher it. Lu Yinfei, I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't
Mm,
know. I'm probably butchering it for sure.
Leo Yifei? Yeah, you're close to it. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go with
okay.
that.
Yeah, because I saw her in the Forbidden Kingdom. I watched that movie, and I remember when I saw the trailer, I recognized her immediately from that film,
Yes.
and I was just like, oh wow, like she's perfect.
Yeah,
But
she's great at like, and she's very popular in China too. She's like one of
hmm
the most like hired actresses. So
hmm
yeah, I saw her too in Forbidden Kingdom, and I was like, yes, it's her because
hmm
she's amazing. She's on point.
yeah. And then, which is and then talking about cast changes, now she has a sister. I saw in the trailer at first, because at first, I was curious, and then I saw her, and it appears like she has a little sister, which completely changes the aspect of the story. It's like, well,
Oh dang.
that's kind of weird, because yeah, if you watch the trailer, you see it that she has a sister.
I wonder if they're gonna pull another Disney where the sister dies, and that's why Mulan actually joins the army because they were killed. She was killed by the Huns or something like that. And she was like, "I'm gonna come
Mm,
get you," because Disney has to kill off one important family member to every hero.
yeah.
So they might do that. I don't know. I didn't even realize it was her sister. Now that you mention
hmm
it.
Yeah, like go through the trailer, and like that's something that everyone is saying, which is kind of like a change that they made, similar to Aladdin,
Uh huh.
where they added the handmaiding to
They
her.
did. They did.
Yeah,
It's like the best
and
friend you always wanted.
yeah, yeah, it was a fellow cast member from Saturday Night Live,
Mm-hmm.
Nazim Bedro, I think her name was, and she was part of it, and she was like the comedy aspect and that's kind of where the story changed with the genie,
Mm-hmm.
where they kind of have like this, to and fro between them. So now it's all like, well, what role is she gonna play? And also, I don't know how I feel about this, but it just depends on how they implement it in the story. Is that there's no Li Shang, there's no Captain Li Shang, and
Oh.
and that to be honest, I really don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. I
Yeah,
didn't realize that. There is none. I mean, unless they're gonna show it later, but I mean,
I don't know. It's after looking and reading articles and hearing news and people talking on YouTube and on the radio. From what I've heard, like there's no Li Shang.
huh.
Um, like she does have a mentor
Yeah.
who like trains her and like shows her how to fight and stuff, or maybe helps her improve her fighting.
Yeah.
Um,
Donnie Yen.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jet Li, who's playing Emperor, which of course is just awesome.
Of course, yes. Jet
He's the
Li as
Emperor, so
Emperor.
which is kind of weird to me. I'm like, I know he's a little bit older and stuff, but
Mhm.
the Emperor, he was, I mean, what would you say in the original? Like what, 70-ish?
Yeah, I would say like almost to his 80s.
Yeah, but well, maybe Jet Li's that old.
Well, I mean, he's getting up
I
there.
mean,
He's
he's
getting
up
up
there.
there.
He's up there. Hang on.
Yeah.
I don't want to insult the guy. Okay, he's only 56.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
he's
I
not that
mean,
bad.
he's a little young. He's a little young to be the emperor, but I'm pretty sure maybe they'll age him down a little bit. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, like they always have was it synthetics?
Yeah, like
And
prosthetics or
yeah,
like
prosthetics synthetic.
okay, yeah, but yeah, I mean, who else? Who else could be the emperor? I mean,
That's true. Jackie Chan.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, he would. I mean, he could be. I'm surprised he's not in here. To be honest, I mean, they have like just a huge cast. Maybe he passed up and they gave it to Jet Li. I don't
Yeah, they
know.
probably did, and Jackie Chan was like, "No, it's okay. I wanna, make another album. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, I got stuff.
I got something to do."
hmm But yeah, Donnie Yen, who's also another big Disney guy because he was in Rogue One,
Yes.
and I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me.
What's his name?
Yeah, the blind Jedi, even though technically
Yes.
he wasn't a Jedi, but yeah, we all know he was a Jedi.
Yeah. Deep down inside, you can't fool us.
Yeah, so like all he was missing was a lightsaber. Don't give me that.
I'm okay with him without it right now.
Yeah, he's like, I'm that bad. I'm like, I'm
Uh,
that awesome where I don't need a lightsaber.
you can't stop me.
Mm. But yeah, I mean, there's a wonderful cast and they're really great. And I'm this direction that they're going with. After seeing like Dumbo, Dumbo was kind of a bit of a flop, I think.
I believe it was because it didn't feel like Dumbo was because I watched it finally
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my god, this is not what I wanted, and it was just
yeah,
it seemed
nobody
like
did.
No, because it didn't feel like it was about Dumbo's story.
Yeah.
It felt like it was about these humans. It was the same thing like Godzilla when they were just like following this one guy. I was like, I want Godzilla. But anyway, that's another thing.
Mm.
But yeah, it just didn't feel like it was a Dumbo. It was just humans.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know, I mean, it's gonna be a little bit different because obviously it's not following the exact same thing as this because it was what was I gonna say? It's about Mulan, and there,
Yes.
there's no magical animals or anything like that.
Yes.
Uh, so it seems like they're taking a lot of things out. I'm a little hesitant because of the director, Nikki Cairo. She's pretty good, but looking at some of her films that I haven't really watched any of them to be honest, so I can't really judge. But it's most of them are kind of small time movies, not like big major blockbusters. Like
Yeah.
it seems like this is gonna like it looks like a lot of it is independent films, a lot of things that she's done, and with something this grand, this scale, it looks like it's tall. It looks like it might be a lot for her, maybe.
Uh-huh.
And so, with something like this, with it being in action and the direction that they're going with, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I'm a little hesitant, with with her skills, with as directing something as big as this. But I'm sure she'll be okay.
Yeah. She'll probably like show everyone that doubted her, like, I'll show you, and then
Yeah,
she'll
yeah,
make it amazing.
yeah. But I mean, most of it is independent films. That's mostly what the kind of director that she is. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she asked for less money. I don't
She has for less money.
know. She lowballed. She lowballed Disney, but I mean, money's never an issue for Disney.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people were saying how this is just Mulan was never really that popular. But I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this was like the most popular. Like, it was a big deal. I mean, it came out in '98, and a lot of people were into it. At least everyone that I knew. It was probably one of the first multicultural movies that Disney did.
Yeah.
Uh, the only one set in China, that's for sure, that I'm
Oh,
aware of.
that I know of for sure. Yeah, it was one of the few places that was set before. Huh? No. Yeah, it's just China. Never mind. Can't think of anything back then. Yeah,
Yeah.
because everything was mostly in Europe
hmm
or the ocean.
European, American,
Mm.
yeah, or the ocean.
Oh, the
Yeah.
ocean.
But the one thing that I couldn't understand about Mulan is how people. I mean, I don't understand how some people were categorizing her as a princess.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that I did not understand. Like, they're like, oh, Mulan's a princess. She's technically not. She's a
Mm-mm.
warrior.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, maybe something happened in the second one because there was a sequel, wasn't there?
Yeah, but um, like there was a sequel, and she was
hmm
like taking these three princesses to marry to like for an arranged marriage,
hmm
and she still marries what's his name? Her love interest, Shen, Chang,
Yeah,
Chang,
Chang. Yeah,
Chang. So I mean, like she still marries him, and he's not an
yeah.
emperor or anything like that.
hmm
So yeah,
Yeah,
there
because he
wasn't.
becomes he becomes general.
Yes, he becomes general. I guess like maybe one day he becomes emperor after saving China with her, and
I don't
or maybe
know.
she becomes emperor. Boom.
Uh, Because I thought like maybe like and I never watched the sequel. I never, to be honest, I didn't even hear about it for a long time. I thought like
Yeah.
maybe under some weird attempt that maybe like she becomes like the emperor's like adopted daughter or something. But I'm all like, no, she's got parents.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. She's like, she they didn't get killed like Batman.
Yeah, or like maybe they die from like the plague or something, and
The black they moved from Europe to China.
yeah, or just like some sickness or something. But
Yeah.
no, I find that weird. I mean, I understand she's like one of like the female leads, and she's a
Yeah.
big female character. But as far as like being a princess, it's like no, she's not a princess. She's just
Mhm.
a lead character.
Yeah.
So
She was just very popular, especially like when the movie came out. Everyone was like so into Mulan,
Hmm.
and I remember when I watched it, I was like, I want to be Mulan.
Yeah.
Like, of course I want to be Mulan. I want to kick butt.
Yeah. But with that things being said, like I'm sure it's gonna be good. I mean, they're making a lot of changes. There's a lot of no's in this one with no. It's not a musical.
Oh
There's
gosh, yeah,
there's I don't know how much of a love interest she's gonna have
yeah.
since Shang is gone, and then
Bye, Shang.
the changes with her family, with her having a sister, no grandma, no spirit guide animal. uh,
Yeah,
the changes with the general, and now is exchanged for a sorceress. You know, so it kind of gives me curiosity between what exactly that they plan on doing and how they're gonna sort of make Mulan be, because it doesn't seem like she's gonna be masquerading as a man in this,
no,
because that was like the big conflict, like that's what was the big suspense, I guess, because all the close calls where they find out if she's a woman, and then it
yeah,
also it's a very big deal that because she is a woman that
yeah. Like it's death if they find you as a woman, as a soldier.
yeah, because like it establishes in the beginning that they're very timid and they're
Mm-hmm.
not allowed to interact with men other than blood relatives. Very, you know,
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for?
Mm,
I don't know. I'm sure there's
it
a
it will
it'll
come up.
yeah, it eludes me right now, but yeah, the women were timid and they weren't allowed to. They didn't have their housewives, and their whole sole purpose in that time and era was to take care of the household and have babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, very medieval.
Very. Thank
But
God I don't need to do that now.
yeah, yeah, and then even back then with her, like she was saying a statement where she was trying to save her father,
Yeah.
but now it seems like, well, maybe she's not that, like she's already a fighter in that case, or society is already allowing women to fight and have power and responsibility where they're not allowed to be kept up in the household. But
Yeah.
I don't know, it's there's a lot of questions
There
and
is,
a
yeah.
lot of changes, so many changes.
I mean, I would just love to hear become a man, make a man out of you.
Yeah, but it's
Like
not in there.
I know, like I would I wanted that song. I mean, like it didn't even need to be like a musical. It could just be in her head and she's just like, "Oh, I wish that would happen, but it doesn't."
Yeah,
I don't know.
because it was very misleading in the trailer where she says, "I'll bring honor to us all."
Yeah.
It's like, well, she's just saying it. She's not really. At first, I thought, well, maybe she says that and then she goes into the song, but no, it's just something like it just seems like maybe they have lines from the
Yeah.
song
I think that's
and they
gonna
just,
happen.
yeah.
Because that could just be like, oh, bring honor to us all, and she goes out for war, and coming back is bringing honor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
maybe.
Yeah. And that was a big thing too, especially at the end when the emperor, uh, when she approaches the emperor
Hmm.
and he says like everything that she's done, destroying my palace. You stole your father's armor, impersonated a soldier. But
Hmm.
then he bows to her because she defeats, Shan Yu, and
Yeah, yeah,
and like that was like the big deal, And now it seems like, well, maybe not so much that, I don't
right.
know. A lot of people always give, flack about these reboots and remakes with the live actions, and they're just saying that Disney's just going through their past inventory because there's been a lot so far. Like I mean, there's what 20 or something or so. Like
Yeah,
reboots. Like they're just going through the list and they're just saying like what's most popular, what can we do now, like what's going to make us most money, and which I don't mind. I don't mind them remaking them because it's just more great film,
yeah,
despite how you feel about the individual movies.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're gonna have to keep coming up with new of their remakes because they don't have Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe anymore.
I know, and that's something else we need to talk about later.
Yes.
Because that was like today. That was big news like today. So I was just
Oh
all
my
like,
god,
it
yeah.
was
That's all
all,
over my Facebook.
yeah, same here. But despite how these are, and yeah, I mean, a lot of them are starting to feel like cash grabs a little bit, you know.
Kind of. It is. It's kind of taking away the creativity and like giving a person who has been, wanting to get their foot in filming or something like that. It seems like they're just like, no, we want to make remakes. We don't want to give a try at this yet.
Yeah, and with the Star Wars films and the Marvel universe, being over, even though there's still new films, and now with the Disney streaming that they're offering and acquiring more and more franchises,
Yeah.
this is always going to be something that's just in their back pocket and that they can just kind of reach in for and be like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do for the summer. This is going to be this year. This is going to be next year. And they're
Yep.
just going to go through the list. Now, although I'll admit that seeing them come to life, such as The Jungle Book and The Lion King, those aren't really live action as they are just CGI and reanimated, because
Yeah.
I gotta admit, The Jungle Book and The Lion King, it looks great to see it, because being a 3D artist and seeing what people can do
Of
with special
course.
effects, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
And now with these ones, especially Mulan, how they're able to have like these pitch battles, because pitch battles is something that's not normal in Disney.
Yeah.
There's not usually a whole lot of crazy army fight scenes. Usually it's just down to like one on one, similar to like Beauty and the Beast or
Yeah.
Sleeping Beauty, where it's just the prince versus the dragon in the end. Uh, or even Aladdin itself, where it was just a really quick one-on-one fight, sort of, kind
Mhm.
of. But this here, it seems like we're finally actually going to get something like a lot of extras and some pretty big battles, which reminds me a lot of something like Troy or
Mhm.
I don't know, Braveheart or something,
Braveheart, yes.
where
Uh-huh.
you see these historical classical films with medieval fighting. So that's
Mhm.
always something that I liked, and I always enjoy watching foreign films, because some of the fight scenes, especially in Chinese cinema, where some of the fight scenes are kind of ridiculous, but still kind of cool to
Oh
see.
yeah. Mhm.
very,
Floating in the air as they jump.
yeah, yeah, the wires and all that. But also they have an interesting aspect on fantasy with like their sorcery and the magics and like their
Uh-huh.
wizards and warlocks. So I'm curious to see how much of that is actually implemented into this.
Yeah, especially with the powerful witch they have now.
Yeah, which I got to admit is new. That
Yeah.
other than Mushu, there's no real supernatural aspects to the original film.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, like, I'm kind of iffy on that part, but it could prove me wrong. Like, it was the greatest villain ever, but I love the Huns. I mean, they're horrible people. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, they're horrible people, but I loved it in this story.
yeah,
Like,
because seeing their costumes and their designs, it reminds me a lot of the Netflix series that was canceled, but it had a few seasons. Was Marco Polo,
uh-huh.
and it was about the descendants of. It was about Marco Polo and how he met Attila the Hun, not Attila the Hun, but his it was either his son or grandson who
Mhm.
was a Hun. I can't remember the actor's name, but the actor who played him was Wong from Doctor Strange.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, he was the actor who played uh, the Hun. Uh, God, Khan. He wasn't Genghis Khan, but he was one of the Khans. He was like the grandson of Attila,
Okay.
and he was the main actor. So the actor who plays Wong from Doctor
Mhm.
Strange, he was in it, and that's what he was playing before he landed Wong in Doctor Strange. So anyway,
Oh,
but
snap.
watching that one though, the costumes and the designs, that was one of the reasons why it was canceled because it was too expensive to make.
Oh
but
dang.
but the costumes that they had for the Huns, it looks like they took those and just put them on these soldiers because the costume design is almost looks identical. So it looks a lot like they used that for for this creativity, or maybe it was like a lot of the same costume designers who got picked up and are now working in this
I
film.
would think that.
But they look really great as far as
Oh,
costume
yeah.
design wise. But I'm anxious to see, and it looks like there's going to be a ton of changes, but there's a great cast. Kind of iffy. I'm on the fence with the director just because, mostly independent filmmaking and nothing that kind of that is similar to this genre, especially with like the martial arts and the fight scene. But then again,
Yeah.
I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, and we'll just see what we get.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of very, very popular movies, or like favored movies, I should say, has been independent as well. Like, especially for me, I've been into a lot of like indie directed movies, and I always say like, ah, it's gonna be okay. But then they always like punch me in the stomach and are like, ha, suck it, I was good, and I was like, yeah, you were really good.
Yeah. So, but I'm willing to give it a chance, and it, again, other than it being called Mulan,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like this film is going to have any relations to the original at all. I mean, there's just way too many changes, and there's a lot of people who are upset about it, and a lot of people who are mad. But to be honest, I'm able to separate the two now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because everyone's saying like, oh, nostalgia, they should be like this, it should be like that, and there's Disney has done a lot of different films where you look at Beauty and the Beast, where it's very similar but has more story elements, kind of
Yeah.
like Sleeping Beauty,
Mhm.
where there's a lot of additional stories, and or excuse me, Snow White, I meant to say, where it kind of follows the story, but it
So the
adds to
twist
it.
to it. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they add a little bit
the
more content to it, and then you have other ones like Dumbo, which are kind of like ugh, where they kind of
ugh.
go one whole way, and then you have these other ones that are kind of like in the middle, where they kind of just go book by book, page by page of what the story actually is.
Yeah.
So, but people are like, "Oh, I want it to be like my child. I want the same feeling as when I first
If
saw
you
it."
want the same feeling, then rewatch the animated
Yeah, then
movie.
we watched the animated one. I mean, to be honest, I was hoping for good childhood, remakes when they do the live actions, but Michael Bay ruined my childhood with Transformers and Ninja Turtles. So,
Oh my
you know,
god, yeah. Don't
you
even
know,
get me
you,
started on Ninja Turtles.
yeah, you kind of have to separate the two, where you
Yeah.
have the live action and then the cartoon or the original. And it's kind of like this one with Mulan, but it looks like it's going to be very different. But I think I'll be able just to enjoy it just as its own thing, not
Mm.
something as, oh, this is a remake or this is a reboot of an animated film. So because you can't really compare them. I mean, at least not anymore anyway. I don't bother comparing the two. I just look at it and evaluate it as its own separate thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's true. I kind of like just accepted it for being just a different movie. Like, I'm not gonna get all like, no, it needs to be this way. I'm gonna be like, okay, let's see how it goes. Like, I'm
Yeah,
okay with it being different if it is different,
exactly.
I'm not gonna make a big deal out of this.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have time for tonight. I want to say thank you to all our listeners. This
Whoop,
is
whoop.
our 10th episode, and also Elisa, who is coming over from our sister podcast,
Yes.
the Coffee Break Podcast. They just dropped their 20th episode. So we have plenty of content for you guys on Elite 23 Global Entertainment on our YouTube page. Send us a like, subscribe. You can also find us on SoundCloud and Podbean as well.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for stopping by and listening to us, whether if you're falling asleep at the gym, on the drive home, stuck in traffic, or just going for a run or wherever you are. Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you so much. And if I may so add, Mr. Joseph, if you do not mind me adding, um, if you guys are ever interested in selling at any booths, like at Comic Con or Anime Expo, Anime Kanji, whatever other places that you are interested in, anytime showing your amazing art and showing your amazing self, please let us know. We are trying to find other local artists or artists around the country to see if they would like to share a booth at any of the conventions that we go to. You would only have to pay 25%. You must have to bring your own materials, and don't worry if you go into our, like Joseph said, our elite, well, it's e23g.entertainment on our Instagram. It will give us all the info of what you need to be qualified for. So if you guys want to, please check it out. You guys can message us on our YouTube, either Podbean, or email us at elite23global.entertainment@gmail.com. So let us know. We already have some people on our waiting list, so you better get to it.
All right, thank you. And thank you for the update. And we'll be adding more content and more updates on the podcast as we continue on. So,
yes, sir. Thanks, y'all.
Hey guys, it's Tiasha Charles here from Animation Station. Just wanted to talk to you guys about our wonderful company, Elite 23 Global, which is a creative place for creative minds. We have a wonderful board of branches, which is fashion, media, and even gaming. We have a team of creative minds coming together to make projects we always wanted to start, like this one. Also, come check out our clothing store called Elite 23 Shopping to check out the hottest and even cutest styles. If you want something new, come to Elite 23 Shopping. See you guys later. Bye!